Genesis chapter 2, verse 23. Kai epen Adam, tuta nun astun ekton asteon mu, kai sarx ex tes sarkasmu, haute klethesetai gune, hati ektu andras altes elemphthe haute. Well, it's a long verse, but a lot of really interesting things going on. Let's start with this first verb here. It's quite simple, just a third singular aorist active indicative from Lego, but this is the first time now, directly at least, that Adam is speaking. It's been God speaking previously. And he's going to praise this woman that God has made for him. He begins with tuta nun. Now, of course, you could take noon here as now, but it's almost a sense of like, at last. He's very excited to see what God has done here. Now, you may be wondering, why is tuta in the neuter? Because, of course, the woman is feminine. Well, this is something that we could call attraction, because the next noun here, astun, is neuter as well. So this tuta is kind of pointing forward to that, if you will, through attraction. It's picking up on the nearest noun and borrowing its gender. So what does he say then? Astun ekton asteon mu. This is from osteon, which is bone. And of course, that's where we get lots of words in English from that. So this is bone of my bones. So she's part of me, quite literally, as we saw in the prior verse. But and notice the ek there is saying she's from me, if you will. And then sarx ek tes sarkasmu. Notice the repetition of the ek. So she is flesh of my flesh as well. So that's what makes her homoios, him, as we saw in the prior verse. The other animals are not of the same sort of bone and flesh that Adam is, but she is directly from him and therefore is a fitting boethos, as we've seen in the prior verse. Then he goes on in his sort of song of praise for this woman, and he uses the haute here. Now, this is a little bit sneaky, but notice that we're pivoting here to the rough breathing. This is from hutos. This is not just she, this is this. Now, you might still translate it with she, and that's pretty normal for hutos in certain situations. But here the translator has chosen the this demonstrative to refer back to this woman and everything that she is. So this creation of God, if you will, although it's in the feminine form, klethesetai. This, of course, is from kaleo. Notice it's a theta, eta, sigma. That is a third singular future passive. So she will be called gune. Now, sadly, in Greek, this wordplay doesn't quite translate. So the underlying word here is isha, which does, of course, mean woman. And why does he call her gune? Hati ek, once again, we see the repetition of the ek, to andras altes. And andros is, of course, from aner, which you've probably learned before. That means man, just like gune means woman. In this case, it's her man, if you will. But in Hebrew, it's ish, which is the word for man. And even if you don't know Hebrew, you'll see that there is a relationship here between these two, isha and ish. They're both essentially the same word with the feminine ending added to make it woman. So in Hebrew, the wordplay is really quite beautiful. Sadly, it doesn't work in Greek because gune and andros don't sound similar. But that's the loss here. So it wouldn't make any sense to a Greek speaker why she's called gune, because there's no lexical connection to andros there. And then lastly, we have elemphthe, which again is from lambano. We've already seen this in prior verses. In prior verses, though, it was elaben. It's a little bit easier here. But with all of these weird spelling changes, this is still lambano, and you see it with the length there. And there's been a spelling transformation into a phi before the theta, eta ending. This is a third singular aorist passive indicative because we're still talking about the haute. She or it, this one in the feminine was taken from her man. So to put it all together then, this one will be called woman because, hati, this one, so you see the connection there, was taken from her man. So that's Genesis 2, verse 23.